All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we're going to talk about some possible salary cap casualties, who could end up getting cut, getting let go of. So we'll look at teams in both conferences, a couple of articles, I guess you could say, on NFL.com I'll look at and what they have to say. So actually, the first one I saw, this one kind of caught my eye, but I guess it kind of does make sense because they're coming off of a major injury, and that would be the running back for the Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb. So yeah, I mean, we saw it, the horrific knee injury in week 2. I mean that was that was the beginning of actually, no, we should say the week before that because that was when, Aaron Rodgers got hurt. But yeah, I mean, then you had Nick Chubb getting hurt the following week. I mean, it was devastating. It really was because he's one of the, he's one of the exciting players to watch, and especially on the Browns. And, he gets hurt. It's actually his second major knee injury because it also, I think in college too. That was when he had his first one. But, yeah, he carries a $15.825 million cap hit in 2024, which is the third highest among running backs. And the Browns, who are currently nearly $20 million over the cap, could certainly use the $11.8 million in savings if they ended up letting Chubb go. So we'll see. I mean, I guess they're going to have to work on restructuring his deal if he wants to stay. I mean, listen, it's tough because, again, he's coming off of a major injury. But, again, he had Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. They did a nice job. But, yeah, I mean, Nick Chubb. I mean, it would have been interesting to see if, Chubb doesn't get hurt, and, Deshaun Watson gets hurt. How does the season turn out for the Browns? But we'll see. I mean, I think it's also because he's coming off of a major injury, too, which they could say, all right, well, if you don't want to restructure, then we're going to have to let you go. They're going to have to look elsewhere. And then you got Nick Chubb on the free agent market. Another big running back name. I mean, it's funny because a lot of these running backs that are going to be available, at one point, they were first-round picks in fantasy. Like, I just remember there was one year that I was doing fantasy with my friends, and it was like every single pick was pretty much a running back. And it was most of the guys that are going to be free agents: Derrick Henry, Saquon, Chubb, Eckler. It's crazy. So speaking of Eckler, you also got the Chargers. They got some candidates that could be cap casualties. I did see on social media this player could be one of the likely players to get released, and that's Mike Williams. Because Mike Williams, he tore his ACL, and with his cap hit, maybe the Chargers say, and because the Chargers, their cap situation, they have to figure that out, and it could be Mike Williams that ends up getting released. So he has a $32.5 million cap hit. Keenan Allen has a $34.7 cap hit. But Keenan Allen's coming off of a great season. So Mike Williams, I think, is probably the guy that they maybe let go. You also have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, two vets on the defensive side of the ball. I saw something that if Joey Bosa ends up getting released, maybe he goes to San Francisco and plays with his brother. I mean, all these guys on the Chargers, I mean, they could go elsewhere and they could produce. Khalil Mack had a good season. If a team that needs a pass rusher, he could help out. I think the same thing with Joey Bosa. Mike Williams, I mean, listen, is a big wide receiver. The problem with him is, and this has been for his whole career, his health. He just can't stay on the field. But I think a team would pick him up if he ended up getting released. So we'll see what happens. So then you also got C.J. Mosley of the Jets, one of the veterans on that defense. Led the team in tackles in three straight seasons, and trailing only Bobby Wagner, Roquan Smith, and Forside Oluwakan in that statistic since 2021. Again, Jets aren't in great salary cap shape. If they ended up releasing C.J. Mosley, that would free up $11 million, or $17 million if they designate him as a post-June 1st cut. So we'll see what ends up happening. Tre'Davious White of the Bills, I mean, again, he suffered I think it was the Achilles injury earlier in the season. So, yeah, he's their corner. The Bills are actually more than $50 million over the cap, and they would save $6 million against the cap by cutting White pre-June 1st, or $10.2 million post-June 1st. So we'll see. A few Miami Dolphins here. You got Teron Armstead, who supposedly has been pondering retirement. Just finished his 11th season. So yeah, if they cut him, that would free up $8.8 million in cap savings, while carrying an $11.4 million in dead money. So we'll see what happens there. Then you got Xavier Howard. And this one, cutting Howard post-June 1st would save the Finns $18.5 million in 2024. Then you got Emmanuel Agba. That would free up $17.7 million. For the Broncos now, so they're $24 million over the cap. So you have Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick that they have listed there. They also have DJ Jones on the defensive line. So, I mean, listen, Cortland Sutton had a good year. And again, the Broncos, I mean, Tim Patrick, I think I could see that happening just because he's been injured the last couple of seasons. He's had bad luck with injuries the last couple of years. So I could see that happening. Actually, is that true? So Patrick, who seems like the team's wide receiver 3 at best, and carries a $15.6 million cap hit of his own. Yeah, so I think it probably ends up being him that gets cut. You got J.C. Jackson of the Patriots. He carries a $14.375 million cap hit. But this is a team that has a lot of cap space, the Patriots, but they could maybe cut him. You got Valdez Scantling of the Chiefs possibly. But we'll see. Tyus Bowser of the Ravens. Hunter Renfrow of the Raiders. I would like to see Renfrow go somewhere else because he had that great 2021 season, and you get Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers you bring in, and they just don't use him. I'd like to see him go somewhere else and produce, because I feel like he still can, but we'll see. You got CJ Uzama as well. He's got an $11.2 million cap hit. Yeah, I could see that. Because you could, Tyler Conklin, he was the tight end one for them. The Bills, Nyheim Hines and Deontay Hardy could be cap hits. Justin Reed for the Chiefs, their safety. Cutting him would free up a healthy $10.8 million in cap space. For the Titans, they have Andre Dillard. Justin Simmons, actually, they have him listed for the Broncos as well. Patrick Peterson, Allen Robinson for the Steelers, and then you also have Eric Kendricks for the Chargers as well. So that's in the AFC. So then we'll take a look at the NFC as well before we wrap up here. Again, the show went really fast, but we're gonna run a little bit over 11:30 here, but that's all right. So the Packers. David Bakhtiari, that's very likely. Bakhtiari, another guy that's dealt with a lot of injuries over the years. Possible, listen, he ends up getting cut. Maybe the Jets scoop him up for Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, he was one of the best left tackles in the league for a long time. But again, it's just, unfortunately, injuries. That's really what's hurt him. Harrison Smith of the Vikings, that's interesting. So his cap hit is $19.2 million, which is 5th highest among all safeties. Releasing him would save $11.4 million against the cap, and $8 in 2024, and then $18.1 million in 2025. So we'll see what happens there. You got Shaq Barrett, another member of the Super Bowl team for the Bucs. He brings so he carries a $14.2 million cap hit in 2024, and then before the first of 4 void years in his contract, brings a $29.4 million cap hit in 2025. So again, if they ended up losing him, if they ended up releasing him, I mean, that's another guy from the Super Bowl years that they let go. A couple of running backs, Alvin Kamara and Aaron Jones. So that would be wild. So I talked about all the running backs that are available. So then Nick Chubb, we'll see if the Browns. I mean, I don't know if the Browns are going to, but we'll see. Then they also have in the NFC Alvin Kamara and Aaron Jones listed. So if those two guys get cut, again, that just adds to the big names at the running back position that are out there. If that does indeed end up happening. But yeah, I mean the Saints, their cap situation is the worst. They are a league high $84 million over the cap. And yeah, listen, Alvin Kamara, he's starting to decline a little bit. So maybe they move off of him. I know they drafted Kendrick Miller last year, so I mean we'll see if they end up doing that. Aaron Jones, we'll see. A.J. Dillon is set to hit free agency, so the running back situation at the with the Packers could be something to keep an eye on. He's got a $17 million cap hit, Aaron Jones, and he sits just behind Alvin Kamara for the highest among running backs. And yeah, listen, I mean, he missed some time with injury, but listen, he played well in the postseason. But we'll see. Demario Davis, one of the vets on the Saints defense, he carries an $18.2 million cap hit. So we'll see. Kevin Byard came over from the Titans with the Eagles. So releasing him and his $14.4 million cap hit, that would be something that's a possibility. That would open up $13.3 million in cap space. Actually, also have Kenny Clark listed here. That's interesting. Actually, it says $27.5 million of cap space entering the last year of his deal. So yeah, I mean he's making a ton of money. Cutting him post June 1st, that would open up $17 million of cap space. For the Cowboys, a couple of their receivers, Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks. I mean those are some playmakers. I mean I could see Michael Gallup being released because he's kind of become that forgotten guy. I mean, because Gallup at one point was, he was the top weapon of the offense, but, then they draft CeeDee Lamb, you had Amari Cooper, and then now, you bring in Brandon Cooks. So I could see Michael Gallup being a cap casualty. I think the Lions already did this, but they cut safety Tracy Walker. Jonnu Smith, he's also listed for the Falcons. Couple of offensive linemen for the Rams, Brian Allen and Joe Noteboom. So we'll see. Taysom Hill, the Saints. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. Mark Lewinsky of the Giants. Russell Gage of the Bucks. I could see that, because he didn't even play in 2023, so I could definitely see that. And then also you have Quandre Diggs of the Seahawks as well. But yeah. So yeah, those are all the candidates. Some big names. That could possibly be let go. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's pretty much it with the show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, same time. And until then, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.